viewers. My name is Dr. Achonu, and today I'm going to do a data cleaning using Excel training. For this video, I have a template in Excel which I will be using. So this template has 7 steps for cleaning data in Excel, and we'll be able to access all the steps, and we'll also be able to access some useful hints for cleaning data in Excel. So I want you to visit my Telegram channel, join the channel. The link is in the description, and you'll be able to get the template as well. So in the previous video, we had Introduction to Data Analysis, where we considered 5 facts about the subject. I mentioned that 80% of the time, data analysts are cleaning dirty data, and it's important that data is clean so that the result of the analysis will be accurate and will be better used to solve problems and make informed decisions. If you're enjoying this video, I want you to like the video and also subscribe. You get to be notified about our data analysis training videos. Here is the data set we'll be working with today to do data cleaning in Excel. This dataset was gotten from the popular site kaggle.com, and this is the link for where I got the dataset from. And this dataset is about street food. The dataset has some columns including the different street foods, the origin of the dish, the main ingredients, the serving types, the calorie counts, preparation time, and popularity rank. I purposely introduced some dirty data into this dataset so that we would be able to practice how to clean it and get it right. So we're going to be working with the templates, and the template is in the same Excel document as this data set. So this is the templates. So let's go to step number 1. So the first step here is first inspection of the data set, and first activity is to open the sheet, which we have done. The next is to create a copy of the sheet and to protect the original. So we go to dirty data, the dirty data sheet, and we create a copy. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go back to this data cleaning, and I'm going to scroll in this area where I have tips. And if you are not sure of what to do in Excel, okay, so help tip when stuck. So when you are stuck in Excel, this is a tip for you, and it says right click. Okay, so we want to create a copy of the sheet. It's always good practice to have the original copy as reference. So we want to have a copy of the sheet, and if we're not sure of what to do, we just go to the sheet, which is dirty data, and then right click on the sheet name, and then we have the solution there. So we click on move or copy. So this move or copy feature helps us to make a copy of the sheet. So I do move or copy, and I click on create a copy, and I click on OK, and I have a copy of the sheet there. So this is the copy of the sheet. So let me go to the next. It says protect the original. Okay, so I'm going to come back to dirty data, right click again, and okay, it's already protected, but assuming it wasn't protected, I click on protect, and I'll put a password to protect this sheet so that my original copy stays without alteration. Now I'm coming back to dirty data 2, which is the new sheet, the copy of the original one, and then I'm going back to data cleaning template, and the next step there is rename the working sheet and color it. So I'm coming back here, and then I right click on this, rename, and I'm going to rename it working data, and then I'm going to come back, and then tab color, I give it green so it's easy for me to identify. Okay, so that's my working data. And the next activity there is to do a column check, delete the blank columns and check the column headers. So I'm back here, and I'm doing the column checks. The columns are what we have lettered here from A, ABC onward. So for us to inspect the columns, all we need to do is click on the alphabet. So inspecting column A, column B, column C, column D, I can see the column headers there, and then column F, I see that it's empty. Now let me go back to column A. So when I go to column A and I click on it, you can see over here where my mouse is pointing that it's counting 104. So when I click on column F and I don't see that information here, that tells me that this is empty. So I'm going to right click on F, delete, and I've deleted it, and then I inspect column H, and then I have column I here, and I scroll to see that it's practically empty. I don't really want it, so I'm going to delete it. Right click on this and delete, and so I've done that step. So I've been able to delete the blank columns, and I've checked the column headers. You go back, check the column headers, they're pretty okay, consistent with the initial description. And then the next step is to clear unnecessary formatting. So to clear unnecessary formatting, I'm going to come back to my working data and I'm going to select the entire data set. And then to clear unnecessary formatting, I go to the Home tab. I go to this area here, which is editing, and I'm going to click on the erase. The erase icon, and then clear formats, and I've cleared the formats. So you can see, let me go back, Ctrl Z, you can see all these extra formats in terms of the background color, the borders have been gone. So Ctrl Y, this shows I've cleared the formats. Now the next step there is to inspect the data sets, top to down, left to right, note observations, and plan. Okay, so let me go back, inspect my data sets. So left to right, I can see the different columns, top to down, I can see. So whilst inspecting, you can observe any issues with dirty data that you might need to correct. Carefully observe spellings and issues and just try to understand the data. Now what I will say is that the data cleaning process usually involves planning, inspection, correction. Very important. So let's take note of that again. Planning, inspection, correction. So we're going into the planning stage now. We've done some inspection, we've done some correction. Okay, so now we're trying to understand our data and note things to plan for. Okay, so this is a data set about street food. What am I interested in? Here I have the street food names, okay, and then I have different countries. These countries are categories. I have description of the food, I have the calorie counts, the serving type, main ingredients, category of the food, preparation time, popularity rank. I'm interested in the popularity rank, so I want to know why the street food is popular. I want to know which countries are giving me the most popular street food. I want to see the relationship between the calories and the popularity, maybe calories and country, and also I want to see the relationship between the categories and popularity. I'm interested in this type of information, so I have within this template a planning sheet here. So in this planning sheet, you can document for each column your area of interest. So I'm going to put what I have documented there, just copy it and paste, and then I have it here. So this helps me to plan. It's very important to plan. It's difficult to keep all this information in your head, so it's good you plan at the beginning so that it guides you and then you can make reference. So let's go to the next step. Now we are done with step 1, which is the first inspection of the data set, and this is what we have. Now let's go to step 2. Now in step 2, the first is to format the data set as a table. So let's go and format it as a table. This is very helpful. Tables give us lots of features that can help us view our data sets well and also analyze them. So I'm selecting the entire data set, and to format as a table, I go to the Home tab, I click on Format as Table under Styles, and then I choose a style. So let me just choose this blue one, and then it shows me, confirms the range I have selected, which is the entire data set, and then I should make sure I check my table has headers, because my table has headers, and I click on OK, and this is what it looks like. So this is format as a table. Now let's look up here. We see that there's an additional tab here because a table has been created, and then I have extra features. One of the extra features I have is that I can scroll down to the end of the table, and then if I check total row, I'm able to have some analysis of the numeric columns. So for example, this is giving me the counts, so I can find other things like average, I can find the maximum values. All I just need to do is click by the filter, I can find the sum, and that's one of the helpful features that the table gives me. Another helpful feature is that different color styles for the table. This helps in presentation. And one thing we'll also see is that the table has adjusted the column widths and the row heights, so it looks better presented. Now let's look at our original data set. This is what it is, and this is where we are now. So next we are going to use filters to inspect column data and their categories. So one of the powerful things that the table also provides is the filter, and these are the filters just at the right side of the columns. So from here I can inspect and see the contents of this column and inspect, check for spelling errors, check for unnecessary characters, which I can see. I can see some unnecessary characters, and I can also see there are some blanks. So this is what I can use the filter to do, check through the countries, and then I can also check the numeric information and see if there are any issues, and I can also check for blanks. I can check the category and I can see some inconsistencies in the spellings. So that's the process of cleaning data. It involves being very observant, having attention to detail, and then checking to be sure that everything is fine. Okay, so I've done my inspection, and then I could also add what I've noted of what I've observed in this planning sheet here. Next up is to delete the blank rows. So I have some blank rows. I can come over here and I'm trying to see, yes, this data set has just about over 100 entries, but it's possible to have data sets where you have thousands of entries, tens of thousands of entries. So because it's not a very large data set, I'm able to scroll and see the blank rows. I could also take advantage of the filters. So I'm going to take advantage of the filters, and I'm going to use the first column there, which is food name, which has unique entries for each row in the data set. And then I'm going to deselect everything and just select the blanks, which is usually at the end. I click on OK, and these are all the blank rows or the blank entries in column A, and I can see that row 16 has blanks for the first couple of columns, and I'm going to delete everything because I don't find that useful. So I delete it, delete all the rows. I'm going to go back and select the data remaining, and you can see from inspection that there are no more blank rows. I can also decide to, at this point, turn off the total rows information here, so that I just have the content in my data sets. And then I go to the next step. So in the next step, I'm going to check or correct the data type of columns. Okay, so I'm going back to my working data, and I can highlight the column. So when you select, you click on the alphabet, you can highlight the column, and then you can look at this area here. We have the home tab and the number section, and then you can see the data type. So this is general, which is fine because it's text. The names of the foods, this is also fine as general. This is fine as general. This is general, but it shouldn't be general. So I'm going to correct it. And I'm first of all going to check if there are any decimals in the calories. There are no decimals. So I'm going to right click on the column name, go to format cells, and then I go to number, and then I'm going to set it as a number, take out the decimals, put the comma separator, and you now see, when you look over here, you can see it is now formatted as number. This is fine as general. This is fine as general. This is fine as general. This should be number. Let me see if there are any decimals. So see how important it is to have the filters. It helps to check. I could as well just select the two, right click, format cells, set it as a number, and this is what I have. So the next step says inspect the table example using totals. Okay, we've done that, so let's move to step 3. In step 3, we are to remove extra spaces, and step 3 has to do with correction of text columns. So step 2 was second inspection of data sets, step 1 was first inspection, and step 3 is correction of text columns. Now we're going to identify the columns that are text based, and then we're going to correct them. So let's start with column A. So we're going to correct by removing first of all the extra space. So let's go and see, let's inspect, and if you look carefully, you'll see that A6 has this pani puri, and there's an extra space in between the two words there, and then we also have that issue on line 10. And then let's inspect and see, also we have something of an issue in this column C, and also okay, so if we had time, we would do inspection and then plan what we'll do. So for now, I'm just going to work on column A. So to remove the extra space, I'm going to be using the Excel trim function, and so I'm going to have to come to column B, right click, and then insert a column by the side, and this column is where I'm going to correct the problem in column A. So I'm going to use the trim function. So I'm going to click on B2, which is beside A2, which is the first entry in column A, and then I'm going to type equal to, that is the rule when you want to enter a formula in Excel. So I'm going to enter the function trim, which is TRIM, and I have the suggestion here from Excel. It says remove all the spaces from a text string except for single spaces between words. So I click on it, and then it's expecting the text where I have to remove the space, and then I'm going to click on this and then close the parentheses, and I click on OK. Now we see one of the features of the table. It has carried out the operation across the entire column. So I've removed the extra spaces using the trim function. Next, I'm going to remove non-printable characters and line breaks using the clean function. So I'm going to come to column C and then right click and insert, and then I'm going to use the clean function on the items in column B, and I've done that. That helps to remove non-printable characters and line breaks. And next I'm going to do capitalization before I check the spelling. So for capitalization, I'm still going to go and create a column by the side of column C, and I'm going to use the proper function. So I'm going to use proper, and I'm going to use proper on the clean. So remember, the clean worked on the trim, and now proper is working on clean. So I close it, and now I have column 3 here. And then now next to check spelling, so I'm going to replace what I have in column D. I'm going to copy it. Okay, so I'm copying my cleaned food name column, and then so I copy it, it's highlighted, and then I come over here, and then don't do Ctrl V to paste. Yes, you can do Ctrl C to copy, but don't do Ctrl V to paste, because we just have to paste the values. So I'm going to click on this cell and then go on to paste, and then just paste the values. Okay, so if you don't paste only the values, then you also be pasting with the formulas, and there's going to be an issue. So right now I can select from column B to column D, which was used to format column A, right click and delete, and I have my clean column A. So let me go to the next step. In the next step, I'm to check the validity of text entries, consistency of entries, consistency of delimiter. So it's to go back to working data and then inspect, and then I can see I have this character here for array pass, and I have Gioia being repeated twice with an extra character there. So I'm going to have to deal with the characters, and I'm going to do Ctrl H. Now I can also observe that in column B there we also have some of the characters even in column E, so I can deal with the characters. I can see in column D inconsistent alignments for this numeric data for the calories, similar for column H, and I can also inspect and see that column G has some issues with capitalization as well. I'm going to first of all handle the unwanted characters, so I'm going to use Ctrl H. So with Ctrl H I can do find and replace. So first of all, I'm looking for this unwanted angle character here, and I'm going to do a replace all because I'm pretty sure that I don't need that character in these data sets. And just watch out for A7, focus on A7, and let's see what happens. I click on replace all, and there are 2 replacements, and I don't have it there again. So that's the first one. The second one I'm interested in is the add character. So for the add character, I'm going to put it there, and then it has replaced it, 1 replacement. I'm also interested in this one. Now I could type this as well, replace all. Okay, so that's a special character in Excel. I could just come here directly and then delete it. So I could also come here directly, this is a special character, delete it. Let me work with the exclamation mark, and then okay, it has removed that, and then I could as well just delete this. So I'm cleaning by removing the unwanted characters. And let me go. Next step is to check. Okay, so I'm still inspecting the consistency of entries. So I'm pretty okay with what I've done so far in column A, with the cleaning, the capitalization, the characters, the content. I'm okay with it. Okay, so next up, I do an inspection of column B. I use the filters, check if there are any blanks. I'm fine with it. So I'm working on the text columns now. I'm not so interested in column C because it has the description. There are some blanks. I could just leave it for now. And then also for the main ingredients, I'm not too interested, but it looks neat to an extent. And then for the categories, yes, I have to change some things here. Yes, I can see some inconsistent spellings. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the filters and just highlight some of the entries there that have issues, and then see how many they are and what could be done about it. Okay, so let me take off the snack. It has quite some there. And then, okay, this is what I have. This can be solved using capitalization, the proper function, but since it's just one occurrence, it's faster for me to just correct it. And then I can correct this as well. This can also be solved using the trim function. So we just try to work smart. We know when we can correct straight away or when we need to use a function when there are many. So we have reduced the entries here. We've corrected the inconsistent entries for some of them. The final one we might just want to correct is the snack, which is all caps, and we can scroll to inspect which one has it. Okay, we just have one here, thankfully. And then we have cleaned column G as well, and that's pretty much what we want to do now for the text columns. So let's go to our next step, step 4. Okay, use trim and clean if necessary for correction of numeric columns. So let's go check our numeric columns, and it doesn't look like I need to do any trimming or cleaning. It doesn't look so. But I was observed something. Okay, here I see this character which I have to take off. I see this one which I have to take off. I see this one I have to take off. I see this one I have to take off. Now let me use the filter to inspect, and I see I just have hot and cold. So next up, I have column H, and you can see that the first entry here is aligned to the left. Now by default, text data are aligned to the left and numeric data are aligned to the right in Excel. So why is this aligned to the left? This should be 20, but if you look closely, you would see that it's not 20, but it was wrongly typed as 2 and later O. So I'm going to delete this and make this 20, and now it has a right alignment. Delete this, make this 30, and delete later O and make this 60. So let me inspect using the filter, and then by scrolling, I think this is fine. And then we have popularity. Here we have this null value for the popularity rank, but I'm just going to leave it for now. Okay, so go back to data cleaning and identify numbers formatted as text is the next activity, which we have done. So we changed the numbers that were formatted as text back to what they should be, which is numbers. And then handle extra characters on numbers data. Handle division by zero error and value errors. We don't have that. We don't have for activity 3, we don't have non-numeric and spaces. And then we can inspect the data using isText function and isNumber function. We can check for reasonable range and outliers. We can check for duplicates for data like IDs and invoice numbers, and then we can remove trailing or leading spaces. So what we have here is a comprehensive template to help you clean data, and you can just apply whatever activity is there depending on if your data has that particular issue. So moving to the next step, we're going to correct the date columns. Now we have these steps here to check the dates if they are mistaken as numbers, correction of date columns, ensure consistent date formats, and these are helpful if you have dates columns in your data. We don't have date columns in this data, but in our subsequent trainings, in our subsequent videos and tutorials, you're going to see us clean some data sets that have date columns and issues with the dates. If you're enjoying this video, I want you to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. The next step there is correction of blanks, errors, duplicates, and to make new columns. Okay, so first of all is to handle the blanks. So let's come back to our working data and then inspect to see if there are any blanks. Now there's one feature in Excel we can use to check for blanks. We can select the entire data set and then we go to find and select, and then we go to special, and then we can highlight these blanks here and click on OK. And oh, sorry, we need to remove the filter we put on the snack. Okay, so first of all is to remove the filter we put on the snack. Alright, so we've removed the filter. Okay, so we come back here, and the last activity that we did was to inspect the preparation time. Okay, we have some blanks there, and then we inspect. We have a value of 1200 here, which looks like an outlier. We can investigate that later. We have the popularity rank. Okay, so for the calories, we can also correct the text. The numbers are formatted as text there, the ones that have errors with the numbers, and then we can scroll down, check through. And so now we want to deal with the blanks. So to deal with the blanks, we can select column H and let's look for blanks. Okay, so first of all, we check the calories, inspect with the filter, there's no blank there. And then let's check the preparation time. We have some blanks, so we can select everything and then click on the blanks, and here we could decide just to have 0 for the blanks. It's always good practice to have numeric entries in numeric columns, so it's blank there, and we're taking note of that by putting 0 there. We could probably get the correct value later and place it there. So we just note that 0 means it was blank. And then here we have the popularity rank, and so we're going to deselect everything and just filter to only leave the null and the blanks. So we click on it, so we have null and blanks. And for the popularity rank, what we actually have is serial numbers from 1, so this should be 5. Now I'm making that decision because I have an understanding of the data, and I know that should be 5, and I know this should be 12, and this should be 76, this should be 81, and so I've done that. And then investigating, I think I'm okay with the blanks. Well, I have a blank here, so I can treat this, though I'm not so interested in this column based on how I've planned for the analysis, but I can just come here and then I can make this null. Okay, so let's go. Next is to handle errors. We don't have errors. To handle duplicates, okay, we're going to check for duplicates first with conditional formatting, and then we remove the duplicates, and then we're going to see if we need new columns. Now I'm looking through, I don't think we need new columns, but what we're going to do is check for duplicates. So I'm going to work with column A. That's because that's the column that has unique entries for this data set. So I'm selecting column A, and I come to the home tab, and then the styles area, I go to conditional formatting, I go to highlight cell rows and duplicate values, and I can set how the duplicate values should appear. If I want them to be yellow, I click on OK, and I can see by scrolling, I can see the duplicate values. So these are the duplicate values. I have 2 duplicates, Gioia. If you look through the row, you would see that all the columns there are duplicated, and that should not be. That gives me an error in the count of my data set. So I have that. Next up, I'm going to remove the duplicates. One way to do it, if the data set is not large like what we have in our case, is just to right click on the row number and delete, and that has gone. and then we have this other one as well. We can do that, but we're going to do something else. So I'm going to select the entire data set, and I'm going to go to the data tab, and then in this area here, which is data tools, I'm going to click on remove duplicates, and I'm going to set that it selects all the columns. Now remember that we have one duplicate which we want to remove, and I click on OK, and it says 1 duplicate values found, and now I have 101 unique values remaining. And if we scroll, we see we don't have the duplicate again. Okay, so next up we're going to, yes, new columns. So I'm checking my data set to see, whilst planning I didn't identify that I needed any new columns immediately. Yes, I need new columns later for my main ingredients column, but for now we'll just leave it like this. Okay, so there's a step we could do if we want to see the information of the columns exactly matching the contents. We could do auto fitting. So let's see what auto fitting will do. I select the entire data set, and then I go to the home tab, and I go to formats, and I can auto fit the column width. Now I want you to observe column C and column F, and I'm going to do auto fitting of the column width, and you can see it has fitted the size of the column to match the contents. And so this is what I have, and this is what I have, and this is what the data set looks like. This is what my data set looks like. And let me see what's next. I go to 7, and 7 is just final inspection. So final inspection is just going through to check what is there. Now we've come to the end of cleaning these data sets, at least for now. Okay, final inspection, I'm observing something here. So I observe that G9 still has an issue. So just to be sure, and just to be okay that I'm not forgetting anyone here, I'm creating a new column, and I'm going to apply the proper function on this column G for the category, and you can see that G9 has been corrected in H9, and I'm selecting, copying, and replacing, just replacing the values, and I do escape, and I delete column H. So this is the final cleaned data. So far so good. If you have learned a lot, I want you to like this video. I also want you to subscribe. This is how we clean data. One of the qualities you need as a data analyst is that you need to have attention to detail. You need to have good attention to detail. You need to have critical analysis skills. So it's all about looking at your dirty data and trying to figure out all the issues that are there so that you can have accurate results in your analysis. So I'm going to add a bonus now, and the bonus I'm going to add is that we're going to go a step further in the analysis by doing pivot tables. So let me go to my planning, and here I said I want to find the country categories to be able to see the number of food per country and the highest, okay, let me correct this, the highest popularity rank. So let me see the number of food per country. That's a bonus. In our subsequent videos, we're going to handle pivot tables, and we're going to handle an analysis, but we'll just do the bonus here. So to do the pivot table, to investigate the country, all I need to do is select the entire data set, and I go to Insert tab, and I click on pivot table, and I'm going to have the pivot table on my table, which is table 2. Okay, so it will be helpful for me to rename the table. Okay, so but for now I'm just going to have my pivot table in a new worksheet, and this is where I have. And remember, I said I'm interested in the country, so I come over here to the pivot table fields, and I pick the country region, and I put it here, and I also pick the country or region, and I take it to values, and I have the count, and this is showing me my pivot table here, showing me all the countries and how many entries they have in these street food data sets. If I want to see the highest, I can come here, right click on this count here, and see okay, so I can sort it from largest to smallest, and here I have India as the highest, and then Japan following. So this is pivot tables in in Excel. So we see pivot tables as a means of grouping the data set. So you have your data set and you want to be able to take the different, you're interested in the columns that have categories and are not necessarily unique all through, so you can find the groups. So the pivot table is like an extension of the filter function in Excel. So this is what we have done so far. This was our dirty data and this is our finally cleaned data. All right, so we've come to the end of our data cleaning exercise. We had a street food data set which we got from Kaggle and which had some issues with the data, and we used our template. We went through all the steps, the 7 steps of cleaning the data set, and we're able to have a final version which looks much better. And then we were also able to do grouping of some columns of the data set and investigating them using the pivot table. So this is Coding Keywords channel, and in this channel you get to learn tech related skills, covering areas like data analysis, artificial intelligence, Python programming, web development. We have lots of videos lined up for you. I want you to like this video, and I also want you to subscribe to this channel so you get to see our subsequent videos. I also want you to join our Telegram channel. It's a community of tech enthusiastic people, and then you get to download the templates, this Excel template which I used in this video. You get to download it so that you can practice with other data sets, and then you get to attend some trainings there as well. In the Telegram channel, which has the link in the description, you'll be able to get these templates, and with this template you can do your cleaning of data for any data sets you put in this dirty data sheet. You can clean just by going through the different steps, and then you also have this planning guide here where you can make entries as to how you want to plan to clean or analyze your data sets. Thank you very much. See you in the next video. This is Dr. Achonu at Coding Keywords.